Hey YouTubers, Grimmy here, and this is the video review for the Transformers subscription service Rewind and Eject. The 2014 subscription for Transformers is at its end, and we're finishing it off with a 2-pack of Rewind and Eject, which is fitting because Takara's release of Rumble and Frenzy actually came as a 2-pack as well. So this grouping actually works. So why don't we take a look at what we have here. We have both Rewind and Eject in their mini-tank forms. Given that these are repaints of the United Rumble and Frenzy, it makes sense. And they are pretty good looking. You got Rewind in his usual black paint job with the golden guns, or data spikes as the bio calls them. I think we all know these are guns. But yeah, and he even has gold painted treads, which is cool. And some red detailing on the sides and front, and a well done Autobot symbol. Although it seems like the white is a little bit much at the bottom. I don't know, I guess the Autobot symbol didn't quite get centered right. Oh well, but oh no, it's a very nice looking mini tank. Turret does rotate. Like it'll go a full 360 degrees, and there is a turret at the front that can move left and right ever so slightly. So you got a nice range of motion out of that. But you gotta be careful how you grab them, because these last two red bits at the end are actually buttons that will release the spring-loaded pile driver gimmick that came with Rumble and Frenzy. Like that. Unfortunately, these pile driver things are kind of on a hair trigger, so you gotta be really careful. But other than that, it does look pretty good. Now, Eject is pretty much the same, except for instead of black, he's blue, and instead of red, he has orange on him. But aside from that, they're pretty much the same. Same golden guns, same golden treads, same look. But, that's okay because G1 Rewind and Eject were repaints of each other as well. But for a comparison, I think it's best that we bring in the original sort of mold, that being Frenzy and Rumble. And yes, I am one of those who feels Rumble is blue, Frenzy is red. But that's the way I feel about it. And an interesting thing to note is you got two blue guys and two black guys. And, well, black armor guys, But, yeah. Still, I mean, it's interesting that the bits that are black on Frenzy are also black on Rewind, while the bits that are this like tealish blue on Eject are the bits that are the darker blue on Rumble. So there seems to be some color matching to these guys as well, which is strange, but okay. Still, they do make for good rival pieces for those United Decepticons. So if you got the United Rumble and Frenzy, it'd be a good idea to get the subscription service Rewind and Eject, because they do go well together. What these guys also go well with is a Phala Cybertron Blaster, because these guys would make a nice little escort. And they do scale pretty well with Blaster. So it works pretty nicely. Of course, there we go. And of course, if you have Rewind and you were getting the subscription, you also have Rewind's best buddy, Chrome Dome. And I'm not going to go too far into that relationship, because I only started watching or started reading More Than Meets the Eye recently after the Dark Cybertron story arc, so it's kind of hard for me to get into it. But yeah, this is a nice little pairing. So if you're fans of More Than Meets the Eye, this is a pretty good way to get two Lost Light members, which is always a plus. But I think that's enough for their vehicle modes, and I think it's time we got these two into robot mode. And now we have Rewind and Eject in robot mode. They look pretty good. Nice thing about the little side guns, they actually can come off. They just go in through these little 3mm clips. It was a popular system when the figures first debuted. But well, when the molds first debuted, I'm sorry. But yeah, they just can clip onto the arms, onto the back, just about anywhere. And this way, it best replicates the G1 style of the weapons. Not perfectly, but pretty close. Now, the articulation on these guys is the same as the originals. You got shoulder movements, forward, back. You got some bicep swivels. Although it only goes in, it stops here. You also have two joints at the elbow. Well, two joints. One at the elbow and one just below to give him double jointed feel. The head can rotate left and right. No waist, but you have ball jointed hips, ball jointed knees, and a little bit forward movement at the toes, which can offer up some interesting posing options. Which is pretty cool. Now, like many FunPub figures, these guys have remade head, like newly sculpted heads. I'm sorry, I'm having my trouble getting my words together on that. But yeah, and Rewind is a pretty good example of this. Taking a head sculpt that is more out of IDW than anything else. You can even see the little camera that he keeps on him at all times. So yeah, it's a nice head sculpt, and it fits the figure pretty well. Not too big, not too small for it. FunPub does have some trouble with the head sizes, unfortunately, but yeah, Rewind and Eject both turned out pretty well. And the color schemes are pretty similar, with only a few changes just because of their different characters. You know, Eject is more of that blue color with orange detailing, while Rewind uses red and black. Well, black with a little bit of touches of red. Now for comparisons, once again we'll bring in Frenzy and Rumble. And this is kind of where the differences really show. Between the optional styles of displaying the guns and the new head sculpts, these factors do help the characters stand out on their own. Although you get a good look at them, it would almost seem like the well, they're actually pretty even on paint work, which is a rarity for the FunPub characters to be even on paint as their originals. But since this mold only came out in Takara, in Japan by Takara, yeah, these were Japan-only releases. The paint details were actually pretty even, since Takara is well known for doing a lot more with paint than Hasbro is. Now for other comparisons, I'll get these guys out of the way, we're going to bring in G1 Eject. Unfortunately, I am a little lacking on Rewind. I don't have a G1 Rewind. But yeah, this is the Eject that came with SDCC Blaster. And so, while the color matching isn't perfect, you can definitely see where Eject's, you can definitely see the similarities, especially in the head sculpt. Although it seems like Eject uses a different color than his G1 self. The G1 uses the red that's exactly the same as Rewind. But otherwise, the colors, the gold used, and the style of guns do match up fairly well. And the next thing we're going to bring in is the Cybertron, Rewind, and Eject, who are quite smaller and less posable due to their spring-loaded nature. But once again, you can actually see the similarities in styles, even though the paint on Eject is a little different. Seems like each incarnation of that character has a different shade of blue. But he does use the orange for the mask, which is what is used for the subscription Eject, while Rewind is using that deeper red on his mask. And other than that, there's a decent amount of similarities. But obviously with different molds, there are going to be some significant differences, especially considering these were based on Rumble and Frenzy. Now, it could have been improved a little bit more if they remolded the chests as well. Since these guys are using the same Rumble Frenzy chests, if they actually did like a different chest plate to better match the G1 style of Rewind and Eject, this probably would have gone a little better, but I still think it turned out well. Now for another comparison, we're going to bring in Fall Cybertron Blaster. And again, these guys scale fairly well with Blaster. The size differences work well, given that Rewind and Eject were considerably shorter than Blaster. And I think these work better since the Fall of Cybertron versions of the characters might have been a little bit too small. But for the last comparison, I guess we'll bring in Rewind's good buddy, Chrome Dome. And yeah, these guys look pretty good together. I think putting Chrome Dome out just before Rewind was a good idea as well, because of the characters' relationship in the comics, and the fact that Rewind was recently brought back to the comics after being dead for I don't know how many issues. Like I said before, I'm not really great at keeping up with that, and I only started reading More Than Meets the Eye recently. But yeah, these guys go pretty well together, and whether you're using these for classics or for a Lost Light shelf, Rewind and Eject, Rewind and Chrome Dome are going to go well. Eject is going to be good for a classic shelf, or if you're putting together a shelf for the Continuum, Transmutate, and Rampager on, Eject would be good for that, because apparently he's a game commentator in that universe. And his bios pretty much also makes him sound like a jerk. But yeah, for classics, Rewind and Eject would be great. I think they complement Rumble and Frenzy very well, and they'd be a great addition to any collection. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this review, and I will see you next time. Take care, have fun, and bye-bye.